Have you ever wondered how your great-grandmother kept her clothes spotless without a washing machine? Or how families once preserved food for months without a fridge? We live in a world powered by convenience, but for centuries, survival depended on skill. Today, we open the doors of time to rediscover lost household skills, the forgotten domestic arts that once defined everyday life. In the 1800s, the kitchen wasn't just a place to cook. It was the center of innovation, a laboratory, pharmacy, and workshop rolled into one. Every household chore demanded knowledge, patience, and precision. Take soap making, for example. Before commercial soaps existed, women combined wood ash, animal fat, and rainwater to create lye soap, a powerful cleanser that symbolized independence. It wasn't just about hygiene. It was chemistry, economy, and survival, all in a single bar. Imagine the process: collecting ashes from the hearth, filtering them with water to produce lye, and carefully boiling that with rendered fat. Too little lye and the soap stayed greasy. Too much and it burned the skin. A perfect batch meant pride. A failed one could mean ruined resources. That delicate balance? It was science passed down through generations, long before textbooks ever taught it. Laundry, too, was a full-body workout. Boiling clothes in copper tubs, scrubbing with washboards, beating dust out with paddles. Each motion carried rhythm, almost like a dance of endurance. But there was more to it than muscle. Homemakers understood fabrics intimately, which fibers could handle boiling, which needed sun drying, and which required gentle rinsing in starch water for a crisp finish. It was sustainability before the word even existed, and yet, these ancient practices are making a quiet comeback. From eco-conscious consumers crafting their own soap, to young families learning natural cleaning techniques, people are realizing that the old ways weren't just nostalgic. They were smart. They produced less waste, cost less, and connected humans to the rhythm of their homes. Every home once had a household manual, handwritten, filled with generations of knowledge. It wasn't just a recipe book, it was a legacy of survival skills: how to sew, preserve, polish, or mend. Skills that once kept families alive through harsh winters, wars, and economic downturns. And now, as we stand in the age of automation, these humble pages whisper an important question: have we traded wisdom for convenience? Our ancestors didn't just run households, they crafted them. With every stitch, scrub, and stir, they built a system of self-reliance that shaped generations. To lose these skills isn't just to lose a chore, it's to lose a connection to where we came from. Before refrigerators and canned goods filled our kitchens, survival depended on one thing: preservation. Every summer's harvest was carefully transformed into food that could last through the coldest months. To our ancestors, wasting food wasn't an option. Every fruit, every root, and every grain had a purpose and a method to make it last. Take drying and curing, for instance. Long before modern dehydrators, families used the sun, wind, and smoke to extend a food's life. Apples, berries, and herbs were air-dried near open windows. Fish and meat were hung above smoky fires, their oils sealed by gentle heat and ash. It wasn't just a technique. It was an understanding, bit of weather, moisture, and time. To dry too quickly meant spoilage. Too slowly, and mold would take over. Each household became a laboratory of patience and precision. Then there was fermentation, a forgotten magic. Cabbages turned into sauerkraut. Cucumbers became pickles. It was a dance between bacteria and time, one that preserved flavor and nutrients without a single machine. Even salt, that humble mineral, played a starring role. Families cured ham, preserved fish, and stored butter in salt crocks to keep them fresh for months. Every meal was a story of chemistry, told without beakers but with barrels and instinct. As the day ended, another skill lit up the night: candle making. Before electricity, every home relied on the simple flame of tallow or beeswax candles. Making them wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. Families collected animal fat from meals, melted it down, and poured it into molds. The smell wasn't always pleasant, but the light it produced meant comfort, warmth, and safety. Beeswax, when available, burned cleaner and brighter, often saved for special occasions or church services. Each candle told its own tale: how resourceful a family was, how rich their harvest had been, and how carefully they prepared for the long, dark nights ahead. Today, we light candles for decoration or scent, but once every flicker represented survival. proof that even darkness could be managed with knowledge and effort. Modern candle making may be an art form now, but its roots lie in necessity, in the human desire to bring light where there is none. To preserve food or craft, light was to protect life itself. It meant readiness, discipline, and care, values slowly fading in our instant world. Yet, as more people turn towards sustainable living, these skills are returning not as relics, but as remedies for our disconnection from nature. Maybe that's the real power of these lost arts. They remind us that survival and beauty can come from the simplest materials: salt, sun, wax, and willpower. Before fast fashion filled closets, clothes were not possessions, they were investments. Each garment carried the touch of a maker, the patience of a stitch, and the story of a family. To our ancestors, sewing wasn't a hobby. It was a survival skill. A torn sleeve or ripped hem didn't mean replacement, it meant repair. And in that repair lay an art, one that stitched together both fabric and identity. In the 1800s, sewing was part of daily rhythm. Every girl learned the craft early, often by candlelight after household chores. Clothing was expensive, fabric scarce, so each piece was treasured. Homes had sewing kits that looked simple: a thimble, needle, and thread. Yet in those small tools lay the power to transform, to make new garments from old ones, to adjust clothing for growing children, or to turn worn-out dresses into quilts that warmed entire families. The invention of the sewing machine in the mid-19th century revolutionized homes. It turned weeks of handwork into days. For many women, it meant economic independence. They could sew for others, take in mending, or even start small tailoring businesses from their kitchens. A single machine could alter a family's fortune, quite literally, one stitch at a time. Even the art of mending carried quiet philosophy. Patching holes, reinforcing seams, or darning socks wasn't just about saving money. It was about respect, for the labor behind each thread, for the resources that created it. Every visible patch was a badge of care, not shame. A story that said, "This has served me well, and I will honor it a little longer." Across the world, cultures turned mending into art. In Japan, sashiko, meaning little stabs, was a technique used to reinforce fabric with decorative stitches. It celebrated the repair, not concealed it. Each stitch was a visible reminder of resilience, beauty born from imperfection. Perhaps our ancestors understood something we've forgotten, that perfection isn't about buying new things, it's about cherishing what we already have. Today, this ancient wisdom is being rediscovered. Thrift stores, sewing circles, and upcycling workshops are rising across the world. People are realizing that repurposing isn't old-fashioned, it's revolutionary. Turning a torn shirt into a tote bag, or old curtains into dresses, isn't just creativity, it's rebellion against waste. It's the echo of our ancestors whispering through thread, "Don't throw it away, make it live again." When we sew, we connect generations. Every needle prick carries memory of the hands that taught us and the patience they passed down. A skill that once defined survival now defines mindfulness. And perhaps in this busy modern world, that's exactly what we need, to slow down and sew a little piece of our history back together. The world has changed, but something old is quietly returning. Across kitchens, workshops, and backyards, the lost household skills of our ancestors are being reborn. We're seeing a new generation baking their own bread, sewing their own clothes, growing their own herbs, not out of necessity but out of choice. A choice to slow down, a choice to reconnect. These aren't outdated chores anymore. They're acts of self-reliance and creativity. In a digital age, where everything feels disposable, these old practices bring something deeply human back into our lives: patience, pride, and presence. We're realizing that our ancestors weren't behind the times, they were ahead in wisdom. Maybe progress isn't just about invention, it's about remembering. Because when we make something with our own hands, we don't just create a product, we create a connection to the past, to the planet, and to ourselves. The skills that built yesterday's homes can still brighten today's lives. Perhaps that's the greatest household skill of all, never forgetting where we came from.